sufficient condition for improving competitiveness of an economy. Let me provide a quick overview of reform trends in various regions before talking about Kazakhstan's stance in doing business indicators. Policymakers in Eastern Europe and Central Asia have been the most active in implementing business regulation reforms as measured by the World Bank's Doing Business ratings since 2004. This past year was no different, with 21 out of 25 economies in the region reforming business regulation. This impressive reform drive in the region is good news for private businesses. At the same time, this highlights the fact that the regional and global competitiveness of any country is influenced not only by its pace of reforms, but also by the evolving business environment of its neighbors. In that sense, business environment reforms should not be viewed as a static objective, but as an ongoing process where benchmarks are constantly evolving. Kazakhstan is well ranked among countries in the region with global ranking position of 47 and being the 6th best ranked economy in the Europe and Central Asia region, ahead of larger economies such as Russia and Turkey, as well as most Eastern European countries. Concerning the specific areas that drove the good performance of Kazakhstan in the past 2 years in particular, let me highlight the following 3 key areas: protecting investors, paying taxes, and starting a business. Kazakhstan's ranking on protecting investors jumped up by 34 places last year in 1 year, and now Kazakhstan is ranked number 10th worldwide in terms of rules protecting investors. This was based on improvements on regulations related to transparency, directors' liability, and ease of legal enforcement of minority shareholders' rights. This improvement is important as it can contribute to strengthen the confidence of investors considering Kazakhstan as an investment destination. With regard to paying taxes, Kazakhstan moved from position 26 to 13. This was achieved by addressing main needs of enterprises on areas related to taxes. This includes reducing the number of payments per year, reducing the time it takes to file taxes, and reducing the total tax rate. In these 3 areas, Kazakhstan is well ahead of Europe and Central Asia region and compares favorably with tax regulations in OECD countries. In turn, we expect that positive tax regulation will help strengthen the competitiveness of established firms by reducing their cost structure, will help to attract further investments to the country, and will create incentives for firms to reduce informality or grey economy. These impressive results demonstrate the fact that reforms with major impact can be implemented even in a relatively short time frame. It's also important to note that in many cases, such large improvements do not necessarily require major changes, but they are the result of well-targeted, actionable reforms. There are several other examples where well-designed and targeted reforms have had significant impact in Kazakhstan's rankings. In expanding these efforts over the coming period, it will be important to ensure that the reform agenda is based on prioritization of what is most important for enterprises in Kazakhstan. Let me now spend a few minutes talking about areas where Kazakhstan's indicators appeared less competitive. These are trading across borders, getting credit, and dealing with construction permits. These are also areas that relate to the potential of an established firm to expand its operations within the country and beyond the country, beyond its borders. They are also the areas that have been identified as priorities for the reforms by the government of Kazakhstan. Complementing this process with efforts that will bring the new measures to the public's attention will ensure that they reach their final users and maximize their impact. Going forward, we believe that the definition of reform agenda should also be grounded in clear assessment of priorities of enterprises. In particular, the experience in other countries shows that obstacles related to the business environment vary across industries and even across regions of the country. In other words, a conducive business environment for, say, agribusiness is not necessarily also conducive for manufacturing or services. In that sense, understanding the needs and obstacles faced by enterprises in different segments of the economy will be essential to maximize the impact of future reform efforts. Let me conclude my participation today by emphasizing once again on the fact that improvement of the business environment is critically important, but not sufficient in itself to secure the competitiveness of an economy. Many other factors contribute to improving competitiveness, ranging from development of public institutions and financial sector to skilled workforce and adequate infrastructure. I would like to finish by wishing the government of Kazakhstan and other stakeholders continuing success in their efforts to improve business environment and overall competitiveness of the economy, and reiterate that we are committed on the bank side, World Bank side, to support these efforts.